everything I've taken off my Tenere 700 and everything I've installed on my Tenere 700. I thought this would be a good point in the build just to show you what I've put on the bike for one simple reason. I'm way over budget and I'm probably not putting much more on this bike in the near future. Hold on, I need this. For those of you who have been watching the channel for quite some time, I still own the 2015 KTM 1190 Adventure R. It is on the market, super low ball offers. I might just end up keeping that bike. Don't get me wrong, I love that machine. The LC8 is just amazing. Let's get back to why you're here and watching the video. What have I done to the 2023 T7? Now, not much has changed on the 2024, the second gens. So most, if not all of these parts that I've installed on this bike will fit on the new models. A few of these parts I did get for free through a few sponsors. Unfortunately, not many of those are sponsored parts, but I will make sure to mention which of those are. I'm not saying these are the best parts you could buy for the Tenere 700. These are just the parts I personally picked, so don't kill me down in the comment section. I'll go over each one and just tell you my thoughts. Would I buy it again? Would I not buy it again? So let's go ahead and go through the bike. One of the first things that I installed was the Camel ADV one finger clutch. So what the heck is a one finger clutch and what does it do? Well, it's a new clutch actuator. It's this lever right here. Here's your clutch cable that runs up to your clutch lever. Here's the OEM, and you can see how much shorter that is. This is where the cable used to run to. Camel ADV claims 60% wider friction zone. So what is friction zone? It's simply when you pull your clutch in, those clutch plates and steel plates are pulling apart, and as you let go, you start hitting that friction zone. So it widens the friction zone, letting you slip more of those steel plates and friction plates. Honestly, probably one of the worst bikes I ever rode with the clutch, the OEM clutch. It was like you pull the clutch in, as soon as you started letting out, you're engaged. You're like 100% engaged. It was a really on and off feel. And of course, with the longer clutch actuator, you have more leverage. And that's where it gets its name, one finger clutch. Super easy to pull in now with one finger. This is probably the first thing I would do on my T7 if I was going to do it over again. Just knowing how much of an improvement this is on the feel of the clutch. The Camel ADV rear brake pedal fixed. As far as I know, they're the only company that is producing these, and it's a massive improvement on the rear brake. The OEM, the feedback, the feeling you get from this thing is awful. It's almost like a sponge where nothing's really happening until you hit full lockup. With this one, it just feels like what a rear brake should feel like. Highly recommend, would get it again. This is what comes stock on the T7. It's really just a pebble deflector. If you're doing any kind of serious off-roading, I recommend some kind of skid plate. I went with Camel ADV. I'll give you a side comparison. OEM, 2 millimeters. Camel ADV 5.2 millimeters, so double. Here's a look underneath. One of the main reasons I went with Camel ADV, we have mount points on the frame rail, but if we look down here, this was the selling point for me. There's another fifth mounting point back here on that bracket, which hooks up to the frame. If you need help installing any of these items, I made how-to install videos on almost everything you see on this bike. I'll make a playlist and put a link to that playlist in the description box below. Last Camel ADV product that I put on here, the Anti-bobble. Now I'm pretty sure the new gens, they fixed this issue. It's pretty much the dash here shaking like crazy off-road. All the Anti-bobble is these two rods giving a little more support for the headlight and the dash here. Look from the top, goes to the GPS rod mount, and then there's a mount point here and a mount point on the bottom. Those are all the Camel ADV products that are on the bike, And yes, I would purchase any of those again. Now I did go ahead and order these from Camel ADV. They sell a kit, makes it super easy. I figured I was ordering everything else, and if you spend so much money, you get free shipping. I got rid of the pumpkins. These are just ridiculous. My 2012 Tenere had the exact same turn signals. I mean, come on, Yamaha, do a little bit better. Across the board, anything past 2020 should have freaking nice LEDs. Since we're on the protection items, let's go to the Adventure Spec crash bar. I love the look. I'm kind of questioning the durability and the mounting points. I did take a hard fall recently. I scratched up the windscreen and I scratched up the Zeta handguard, but I managed to not even touch anything on the crash bar. What made me go with the Adventure Spec, well, first off, I think it looks fantastic. It follows the line of the bike, but right here, it goes below the radiator and gives the radiator nice protection down below. I was looking at the Outback Mortar Tech, I believe, but they were sold out for quite some time, so I went with these. What I mean by mounting points, why I'm not a huge fan, you have these two mounting points on the side, which is fine. The other mounting point is down below right here. And it's really hard to show you guys, but there's a bracket coming off of the center here, and here's your headlight. Now in my mind, on a hard impact, if it really hits hard here, this will bend a little bit. I haven't had a hard enough crash to tell you how well these hold up, but for looks alone, I would buy them again. Alright, I'll speed this up a little bit. I don't want this to be too long of a video. Zeta handguards. Huge fan. They held up very well on a crash. You have options of different sizes of plastics. They're not very expensive. The one thing I do not like about these, this little slit right here, you have an option of putting a turn signal in here. Well, when it gets super cold, you have air flowing through, and your fingers get a little bit chilly. But I'm sure there's a way I could close that up somehow. Since we're right here, I went with the Shorty lever Ride It clutch and brake lever off of Amazon. Fantastic. For the price, you can't beat these. Some cheap risers off of Amazon. Nice CNC foot pegs. Nice CNC was nice enough to send me these complimentary. I did a video for them. Huge fan. I've actually been running the same brand for a couple years on the 1190. You can see right there, nice CNC. Just fair warning, if you get some kind of fancy color, they do like to fade in the sun. Here's a side-by-side of the OEM and the nice CNC. So quite a bit larger, more surface area to stand on. I'm a fan, not just because I got them for free. Nice CNC also included a shift lever. I can get you a decent side-by-side. So here's the OEM, here's the aftermarket. You can actually push this out a little bit more. So if you have larger boots, you have a little bit more space in here. I actually moved this part way closer. The only thing I did not like is the tip. It was way too freaking long. So I actually cut this thing in half. In the rear, we have a beautiful AliExpress exhaust. These are like 40 bucks. Super cheap. When I bought the bike, the guy already had this on here. And you know what? I'm going to leave this on. It sounds pretty dang good. That's with the baffle off. I found the cheapest high mount mid off of AliExpress for like 95 bucks. That should be here shortly. So keep an eye on that video coming out. We'll see if it works out or not. If it doesn't, not a big deal. I'm not going to spend, you know, the $800 on a full exhaust system. At least not yet. That's down the road. Because if I do that, I would like a better air filter. And with the full exhaust, you know, probably an ECU tune. So that's just a little bit too much money right now. This is also an AliExpress little protection piece. And these are AliExpress, just little crap here and there. Now for the rear luggage rack, Moto's Power Sports. They're out of Turkey, much cheaper than the Adventure spec. These are lightweight, pretty much the same design. I wanted something back here for the soft bags so they wouldn't rub against the plastic. Plus, I didn't like how the soft bags were just draped over. When I was going off-road, they would kind of fling up. With this, at least I have somewhere to strap them down below as well. I haven't tried it just yet, but we'll see in a future camping trip how well these hold up with the Rhino Walk bags. Moving right along to the rear of the bike, this is the Alt Rider tail rack. The Alt Rider comes with pre-drilled holes for Rotopax, which I already had. So I went with this one. I'll show you how this goes on. And there's the rack with the 1 gallon Rotopax. I'm not really a fan of the look with all this stuff in the back of the bike, but if you're going camping, you need a place to put everything. The Seat Concepts 2.0 Hard Rally, I believe that's it. Mixed feelings about this one. Let's pop it off. Give you a close look. It is beautifully made, don't get me wrong, but it's not much more comfortable than the OEM. I actually have this for sale on Marketplace right now. I'm considering just rocking the OEM for now. OEM aftermarket, a little bit wider here. So we'll see what happens with this seat. Kemimoto sent me one of their lithium batteries. No complaints. I honestly forgot this is even in here. The intake, there's a Tusk air filter in here. You know what, let's go ahead and pop this open. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, nasty. There's the inside, and it looks like it's doing pretty dang good. The air box is clean. I just put a little bit too much oil on the air filter, so kind of went in there, but not a huge deal. Yes, here's the air box. If you have any recommendations on a better air intake, let me know in the comments below. That's another thing I'm kind of holding off on. I figure if I'm going to do a full exhaust, I'll do the air intake, and then I'll have the ECU tuned. Okay, besides that, oh, I did forget, this is a Tusk tail tidy. One more item in the front of the bike, and then we'll get to the most expensive item, well, I guess items that I purchased for the bike, which vastly improved the ride off-road. For the front, I went cheap, and I bought these little brackets that you reuse the OEM windscreen to move it up and down. So cruising down the highway, just pop this up, and there you go. The one thing is, you'll get more airflow, which is great on a hot day. So you'll have this opening. These weren't very expensive. These are just like 20 bucks, just some kind of Amazon deal. I guess I don't know. They're okay. They're kind of janky, but it works. This really does work if you're cruising about 80 and you want some of that wind off your helmet. Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR came stock on the T7. Fantastic highway tire. Would not recommend off-road. It's actually not even an off-road tire technically. I went with the Tusk 2-track. Great meaty tires. I have about 2,000 miles on them so far. Give you a peek at the front one. Now if you were in the market for the Tusk 2-tracks, you may have heard there was a batch of rear tires that have been recalled. Something with the vulcanization process, and the tire could chunk. Well, Rocky Mountain ATV MC, I gotta give them a shout out. Not only did they send a brand new rear tire to replace the old one, but they're sending out $100 gift cards to cover the cost of mounting, dismounting, and disposal, which $100 is more than substantial. So, thumbs up. I'm happy. Alright, I saved the best for last. I know I missed a few little things on the bike, but they're not that major. The OD hand grips, and there is a shifter stabilizer. Let me show you that really quick. This is the shifter stabilizer through Nice CNC. I actually paid out of pocket for this one. Not very expensive, and I believe it makes a little bit of a difference. I did not ride the bike enough without this to really have a comparison on it. I went ahead and bought the tractive suspension through Rally Raid. On the top there you can see the low and high speed compression settings. In the front we have the nitrogen shocks, rebound on the right, compression on the left. Here are the old internals OEM from the front forks. There is a full video of the install on the new setup for the front forks. I'm going to go more in depth on the suspension in a future video, just because I don't want to bore you any longer. I think the video's going to be long enough. But there it is. This is what I did over the winter, slowly building this bike. I mean, there's plenty of things I have still lined up that I would like to do, but where it's at right now, I think we're good for this season. Now, do you have to do any of this? Of course not. Buy the bike and ride the damn thing. This is just what I enjoy doing, adding little add-ons here and there. But if you do go off-road, I highly recommend some of these protection items. I'll catch you guys in the next one.